normal. Like, I don't know. Like, obviously happy to tell you about what's going on in my life, but it's strange at the same time. Again, it's almost like a take it for granted kind of thing. You know, we're so distance-wise, physically, we're so far apart that I think I've just always been used to, like, getting a phone call, picking it up as and when and stuff like that. So I think for me, it was just like not having that felt a bit weird, and, you know, I noticed that. But, like, for example, it was recently, like, my sister's birthday, so that was nice that there was a phone call for that, which is something that's always been a thing. We always get a phone call on our birthday, so it was nice that that still happened. I'm just glad everyone's been able to get in touch with someone. I mean, we're all in such a similar boat that it's really nice that everyone has had that chance, and hearing everyone's natural relief of that as well.
Yeah, I also want to say, Kelly, I really feel you with your grandpa and you too, Amira, because we are at the same page. Some people, where they are inside Iran, they felt that, like, if you are living outside, then, you know, because you are not directly under, like, bombing or that situation, their stress is less for you. But I disagree, definitely. It is actually worse, I guess. Maybe physically we are quote unquote safe, but, like, thinking about what's happening for everyone, including our families, including the country, including everything, then it is make it, like, worse, I guess, for us who are living outside. And then one thing that I want to mention here, while I saw many of my friends turn to Instagram, they were so excited to reconnect with the people and, you know, share their updates. But at the same time, many of them were asking why people in Iran had to live without normal internet. And then many people, they will call it is not like real internet. First of all, we are not sure the internet is going to stay. We don't know. And also, it's a kind of moved from, like, the intranet that we have to filtered internet that people in Iran, including my family, call it filternet. So this is also is there. You know, people are happy, and at the same time, they are very disappointed. It is my understanding and observation.
Yeah, I completely agree, because that's kind of, I feel like I sounded really pessimistic before, but it is this kind of caution that I think everyone is treading with, if we're not sure exactly what is going to come. Like, obviously, everyone has the hope that war has ended, but whether you're inside the country or not, we're all just sat here waiting for whatever happens.
I agree, yeah.
Kaylee?
Definitely, and I think also, Fariba, adding on to the point you made, just the very unique Iranian trait of making a joke out of literally anything. People in Iran are, like, making jokes and laughing, and I mean, of course, not everyone is doing this, and everyone is alongside that material posting a lot of very serious grievances and other issues that they've been having. So I don't want to make it sound like everyone's just having a really fun, jokey time, but when I was speaking to my uncle, I asked him, you know, how are you? How is the city? How is, a lot of my family lives in a very rural village. Like, how is the village? You know, how are these places? And he was like, oh, it's fine. You know, the weather, I don't know what they were doing before the war, but the weather has just been absolutely beautiful. Blue skies. I can see the mountains from my window. And I'm like, this is so not the point of this conversation, that they just keep making comments like this.
I feel like I got really frustrated, because I was like, you know the stress I've been through? Like, do you know, like, and they're just sat there having kebab on the rooftop. Like, I saw a photo, it was like a little dinner party, and I was like, okay, good, I'm glad you guys had a good time. You know, obviously that's such a tiny moment, but it's almost comical, because I don't know if I could do that. I'd be sat there, like, I don't know if I'd be sat there. I don't know what I'd be doing. You don't know.
I think that we Iranians are kind of the living demonstration of the sentence, if we don't laugh, we'll cry. And I think we're really putting that into practice.
It's the same thing. Like, everyone was talking that the sky is beautiful, the weather is not that warm yet. You see that?
It feels so surreal. It really does, some of the conversations. But also so nice, because, as I said, it's been this bizarrely normal chat. I feel like some of my our conversations have not, like, it does not seem like everything that's happened has happened, which is great, but also so bizarre to, like, process sometimes.
Is there anything you thought, I really like to send them something in the post? And if so, what would that be?
Yeah, James, to answer your question, I mean, it's funny because you would think, you know, we live in the West, we live in Europe, I grew up in the U.S. mostly, so you would think that a lot of things would be me sending it to my family, but I think it's often the reverse, where I constantly ask them to send me very specific things. Iranian candies and sweets are very popular. There are also very specific, like, medicinal things that I like to be sent, like herbal remedies to different ailments. We have, like, Avishan for, like, chest congestion. And I find that every time I catch a cold, I need to drink some of this. It's just like an herbal remedy for congestion, but like these kinds of things. I need that.
And they continue to speak for several minutes after that about all the things their families wanted to send them from Iran. Our thanks to Kaylee and Amira here in the UK, and to Fariba in the United States. This is Outside Source on the BBC World Service. A man in Canada has pleaded guilty to abetting in the deaths of 14 people in Ontario by selling them the chemicals that they used to take their own lives. Our correspondent Barry Caffrey has been following this story and joins me now. Tell us more about this man.
Yeah, so this man is Kenneth Law, who is 60, and authorities said that he posted around 1,200 packages of poison to people in 41 countries around the world, including more than 100 in the UK. These were people he met in online suicide forums. He's a former chef. He was facing 14 counts each of first-degree murder and counselling or aiding suicide related to 14 deaths of residents aged between 16 and 36 in Ontario. Here in the UK, the Crown Prosecution Service said that he sold a lethal chemical linked to 79 deaths, 73 in England and Wales, 5 in Scotland, and 1 in Northern Ireland. Now, Kenneth Law will face no charges in the UK. A letter from British prosecutors seen by the BBC says this is because of legal complexities, but the Crown Prosecution Service, the CPS, says the Canadian legal system will take the losses of UK families into account. We have had a statement from the Crown Prosecution Service, the CPS, saying that this was a very unusual situation, and they say that ultimately it is our view that incorporating the impact of Kenneth Law's offending in the UK into the Canadian sentencing process is the most effective and quickest route in achieving this. They say that it was very important for bereaved families and survivors in the UK to have their voices heard by providing victim impact statements to the Canadian court. And they say that this will ensure Kenneth Law is appropriately punished for his actions. And the CPS said they made it clear that this man, Kenneth Law, had to accept all of the evidence provided by the CPS and that they were not prepared to leave any victim unaccounted for. But yes, the news in the past hour and the cases ongoing over in Ontario in Canada, that around 1,200 packages of poison were sent by this man to people in 41 countries in total, and he's facing 14 counts each of first-degree murder and counselling or aiding suicide related to 14 residents in Ontario in Canada who died by suicide. These residents aged between 16 and 36. This was an international investigation with different authorities from various countries, including Italy, the UK and the United States, all involved in this. And the plea, as I say, he's pleaded guilty, but it's underway at the moment in a court in Canada.
Yes, of course, he's pleaded guilty to those 14 counts of aiding suicide in Canada after he sold toxic chemicals online. The number of families in so many countries affected must be vast. How have those families been responding?
Well, we have heard from a man called David Parfet, whose 22-year-old son Thomas used the substance here in the UK. And David said on the decision not to prosecute Law for deaths in the UK that he was disappointed. He said that he had wanted this man to face charges in the UK. He said that he was responsible for at least 78 deaths in the UK, including his son. And he said he caused a devastation that is really difficult to describe. That man, David Parfett, is calling on the UK government to hold a public inquiry. He said that a public inquiry is needed because he says we need action across multiple government departments. And he said that we are not seeing that coordination and that his understanding on how to address the problem today. Fundamentally, he says the government is failing in its duty to protect life. We have asked the Home Office as well for a statement in relation to this, but we haven't received one just yet. But that was just one example of someone who was affected at losing his son to this chemical.
And in the investigations in Canada and here in the UK by the Crown Prosecution Service, the CPS, was it established just how he was able to do this for so long?
We don't know that yet. What we do know is that he sent lethal quantities of a substance online to around 1,200 people around the world. This was a substance that was marketed and sold online and in chat groups. And of course his capture followed a very complex investigation by at least 11 law enforcement agencies. It involved investigators from around a dozen countries around the world, including here in the UK, the United